moving all night. And hopefully at the end of the night, you're going to see a lot of people that are inspired and excited about the arts here in the city.
I don't mean to alarm you, but I think there might be a ghost in this house. Welcome to Halloween Baking Championship.
Baking in a competition like this is scary.
The ghosts are trying to sabotage me. Burns. Gold.
You're a ghost.
Halloween Baking Championship on Food Network.
You're watching Rogers TV.
I'm your host, Nick Kennedy, joined today by the coaches, Scott Ray, Brandon Shaw, Regan O'Grady. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
We got a couple of upcoming games this week. We're against Barrie down in Barrie on Thursday, September 25th, 7 p.m. You can catch that on Flow Hockey. Kitchener and Barrie at home this weekend for a doubleheader. Saturday, Sunday, 7 p.m. on Saturday, 2 p.m. on Sunday. Make sure you guys are there. This is the first game people are going to get to see the new rink. You guys have seen it. What are your thoughts on new boards, new glass, new ice? It's looking good.
Yeah, I think the city's knocked it out of the park. It looks fantastic. It feels great. It feels a lot bigger than it used to. There's not very many bounces like there used to be, but it's a lot brighter and it's a lot bigger, like I said, and I think the guys are really excited about it.
Yeah, seems like you guys got a lot more room on the benches and stuff to move around. That's got to feel good as well for the team.
Well,
I'm
we
sure
haven't got there yet, so
yeah,
we've just been on the ice. We were just allowed on Monday, but we haven't stood behind the bench yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot better.
Nice, excellent. I want to talk a little bit about the off season here. I noticed you guys had a lot of involvement in this year's draft, which I think is great. Like, you guys have an idea of what you want this team to be, and seems like you guys have the ability to kind of make those thoughts known and are kind of brought in on that process. Is that kind of the same across all leagues, or is it uniquely here you've got a little bit more involvement in that?
Yeah, I think with Digger putting trust into us, and he knows the way we want to play, and he's identified the type of players that are going to play that way consistently for us on a day in, day out basis. And you know, I think that's really valuable. And we've been around different franchises, and some teams do it and some teams don't, and the ones that do better in the standings usually do. So, you know, Shawzy's been with Niagara, and I know Regan's scouted with Sarnia, so they could speak on behalf of that. But I think it really helps when we can identify the type of player we're looking for at the draft time.
Yeah. Have you guys found that to be consistent?
Yeah, like I think each organization has their own process, but if you can have a bit more input as a coach, you end up getting players that are going to play your style a little bit more, and it just translates easier, and those players end up having more success. So kind of what Scott said is teams that are higher in the standings, whether it be one draft where they rely heavily on and the coaches have a lot of input, it really helps.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think obviously just tapping in a little bit to the U.S. market this year was big for us, and obviously that's the starting point, and we're just going to continue to look to build off that, and you know, the success that we're going to have only is going to benefit for the guys that, you know, we might be able to start to pull from NCAA and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, obviously, you know, Digger's job changes quite a bit with the NCAA deal and how that's all going to shake out for, you know, whether it's a 4-year plan or a 2-year plan or how you kind of go about that sort of thing. But for you guys as coaches now, I guess, like, you know, you're getting a lot of different kind of talent coming from the States. Do they play a slightly different style? Do you have to change the way that you're coaching or even scouting players?
Well, I think with the guys we got, we're just learning how they play too, and different style. I wouldn't say that. It depends on what area you're getting them from. But the guys we have brought in, they're a little more east-west, I would say, and they like to slow the game down, or they're very elusive. So it's just like, identifying guys in Ontario. It's just a different player that player A is not going to play like player B, and just so happens that we got a couple players that play different than other players, and I think they complement other players on our team.
Excellent. You guys ran a kids camp this summer. It seemed like it was a great success, and is this something you guys have done at other teams before? And what was it that just made it so successful? Yeah,
we've done it in North Bay for many years, and it's just another way of giving back to the community and being involved in the community and having those kids wear an Attack jersey for a full week, and it was awesome. The turnout was amazing. We're really looking forward to doing it again next year. Next year we'll be doing it at the Bay Shore, so that'll be a little more fun for them, getting dressed in our dressing room and having a game-like atmosphere for the Friday where it's a fun day. And we as a staff had a blast doing it, and we look forward to it.
Excellent. Any highlights? I know you were involved as well. What was kind of a standout moment for you?
Honestly, the kids were great. They were so excited to come to the rink every day. They had a ton of fun on the ice and off the ice. Brownie was out off the ice with some of the guys, and I think it was a really positive day. We got to see a lot of different kids. Got to see a lot of different families that enjoy the Attack and enjoy coming to games, and it's special for our guys too. Our guys that were there, they get to build relationships with local kids that play minor hockey, and even kids that traveled to come to the camp. Whether it be, like, we know that there were a few from Shallow Lake, or even some from Port Elgin a little farther. I know some kids from Innisfil came.
Wow.
So visiting grandparents or whatever, but it's a lot of fun to give back, and it's a good learning lesson for our guys too. I think my favorite memory of the camp was Cubby coming out on the ice Friday.
That's great. I'm sure the kids like that.
Yeah.
That's great. Regan, you've been running hockey camps and all sorts of stuff like that for quite some time. Have you found the more you do those, do you find is there kind of an element where, some of these kids get a little bit more serious about hockey, and do you see that kind of increasing even the AA, the AAA play around the area?
Yeah, I think obviously, there's obviously camps that are geared more towards the higher end kids, but at the end of the day, I think for a lot of kids, it's just another opportunity, throughout the summer to really kind of hone in on, kind of 5 days on the ice. I think also too, it's just a matter of, being in the spots where you're learning from, really good coaches. In this case, it was these guys that ran, our camp this summer, and, you don't find that everywhere. And I think, the biggest thing you see now is hockey being affordable, and obviously to give back and to be involved in the community at a really good price. Like, it filled up very quick, because of those reasons, right? So it gets more serious as they get older, for sure. But I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of, don't forget where you came from. Like, it's one of those things, everyone starts somewhere, and you kind of have to figure out and navigate towards it to see, how serious you get. Sometimes it's at 10, sometimes it's at, 13, 14, 15, like, you never know, but just giving those kids opportunity to get better is awesome.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, talking about people getting better and improving, you guys have been able to watch a lot of these guys play for a while and develop, and you've selected a new team of captains, and they got to make their debut down in London. What's that process like for you guys, kind of assigning jersey letters when, obviously you always want a team of leaders, but how do you then go ahead and select the few that are going to put a letter on their jersey?
Well, I think obviously we talk as a staff and see who we think we would like to see with the letters and be our leadership group. And then I involved our mental performance coach, and he sent out a questionnaire to all the players, and we were able to see, who the votes were. And usually it's a popularity contest, but it wasn't. It was pretty cut and dry for us. And it was nice to see. It really backed up what we were thinking. With a young guy like Pierce Bowie, you can't discount the season he had last year, but we actually had to have a talk with him just to make sure it wasn't something that was too much for him too soon.
Sure.
And then Jacob Terrian, bringing him in, he just plays with a lot of passion and fire, and he's a really good guy in the room, and I know he's really wanted to be a leader in the league, and his teammates voted for him. They were a 1-2, and we just got Jake Crawford back, and he's going to continue to wear an A for us.
Excellent, excellent. And obviously, Bedsy coming out with the C on his jersey there in London. What goes into, like, what are you getting out of him now as a captain? A guy who's, been drafted now. He's got a little bit of that pro experience at development camp and training camp. What do you want to see from a new captain here at this franchise?
Well, I think with Bedsy, also with the questionnaire that was put out, it was 23 for 23 that voted for him. So that was an easy one. But we already established that last year where we knew he was the team leader, and after Hooks left, Hooks did a phenomenal job. If I could roll back time, Hooks would have been captain right from training camp. He did a phenomenal job, and he played with his heart and soul, and he left a few things for Bedsy, and I think with Bedsy, he's just one of those guys that leads by example. By leading by example, he's in the gym nonstop. He's taking care of his body. He acts like a pro. We tell players that come here just to attach themselves to him. That way you're getting better and stronger every day.
Excellent. As assistant coaches, how do you guys, lead through your captains? Like, do you have to use your C and your A's to kind of lead through them with guys, and how much of a help is it to have those extra leaders around the rink and the room?
Yeah, leadership, it comes in many different styles, and our leadership group's an extension of our coaching staff and management, and these guys can take that leadership in many different ways, whether it be our style of play and leading by example and making sure their details are great, whether it be being vocal and talking to guys and making sure they're in the right spots. If a guy's down or makes a mistake, help him build him back up. And then you have different guys that are part of different special teams too, like Bowie and JT have been on the power play and are leading the way there, trying to help get that going with Riggs, and then Eileen heavily on Bedsy and Craw to help out and teach the new young guys the penalty kill. So really it's an extension of us, and as a leader you got to be yourself, and they each have a different style and a different way of leading, and it's just reminding them, like, be yourself, but you're an extension. You help us continue to build and grow, and we'll go as far as we all take each other.
Yeah, excellent. Curious about you guys running special teams. This past game, you had a lot of opportunities to see that develop, I suppose. Is that like the ideal start to a season, or do you almost prefer can we just get a game of 5-on-5 here, get the systems down, work on special teams after?
Well, I think our power play, the way it started, obviously not a 5-minute major right off the hop. I think it took kind of the flow out of the game a little bit. It seemed that, maybe first touch for some guys on the ice in that game was on the power play. And, we put a lot of pressure on our special teams to be over 100% every single night between, power play and the penalty kill combined. And, we go 0 for 6 to start the game, and then, we end up 2 for 8, and it ties us the hockey game and wins us the hockey game. And, you look back and you kind of, scratch your head at some of the things that we did for sure. But I think it's a situation where, on any given night, if your special teams can come up big, like that's what this league is. As much as it's 5-on-5, I think the more that we can get it clicking to start, it's going to be beneficial. But it's one of those things where we didn't expect a 5-minute, especially in London. With the special teams in our favor on power plays, usually it's definitely against us. But overall, a win's a win, and we're happy to take it.
Absolutely. Do you look back on that and see a silver lining? Like, all right, maybe we worked some things out there in period 1 that we don't have to work out now in game 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I think for me it was just looking up at the shot total. Like I said, we're outshot after period 1. I think we had 13 minutes of special teams on the power play, and it's one of those things that we just said as a staff, like, we have to have more shot volume. I challenged our guys today in practice, and it will be a theme this weekend as to, it doesn't have to be a highlight reel goal in game 2, 3, 4 of the season upcoming, but it's just about getting back to the basics. And what makes a power play successful is, shot volume, tons of traffic, outnumbering them all over the ice. You're up a guy, obviously, so you can't really take the foot off the gas when you're up a guy. It's almost like you gotta push it down a little bit harder to try and capitalize.
Well, and it seems like that message is getting through. I mean, maybe early in practice, a couple shots are going through with no traffic, and a reminder to them, and all of a sudden you see guys that are kind of taking the eyes away from the goalie, pucks going in, when they're in front and things like that. How often do you have to get back to the basics as coaches, even at such an elite level as OHL hockey?
Well, hockey hasn't changed, so that's the one thing that we have on our side is the proof's in the pudding. And if you play the right way and you get back to the X's and O's and more of the straight lines, it's gonna usually end up in your favor. To touch on what Reed said, nobody goes into London on game 1 and expects to be on the power play for 21 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the case may be. But the good thing about that is, like he also said, that when you start on a 5-minute major 3 or 4 minutes into the game, kids haven't really got into the rhythm, and if you see them scoring on the power play later in the game, that's because they're in the rhythm now. Right. And when you're just the average fan sitting on the couch yelling at the TV, which I would be too, it's one of those things that just kind of evolves throughout the game. The kids got their touches, they're feeling better about themselves. We've now got a little more video where that we can break them down a little bit, but there's never a game plan going in on London and out manning them on the power play. Usually it's the other way around, and we were sitting there going, okay, well, here we go, because we know it's going to go the other way quick, and we had 2 calls that were a little light, and then we had 2 5-on-3s that we had to kill, and it's just it's crazy nuances of the game. But I'll give it to our kids. They didn't get too high, they didn't get too low. A lot of kids could have got really frustrated, but they hung in there.
How do you manage then guys that aren't necessarily on unit 1 or 2 for the power play, when they spend, maybe, I guess, almost 10 minutes kind of watching this go, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like, all right, we need you out defending, and not just defending normally, but defending a 5-on-3. Like, what do you look for in guys just to get activated right off the hop?
Well, it's tough, right? Because you have your select units that go out there, and, if I was on the bench and I'm not on one of those units and they're performing that way, I'm going to get a little negative, and that's just the nature of the beast. But guys didn't. They were just egging them on and making sure they're going. And but for a coach, once that power play's over, you've got to get those guys out there as quick as possible and get them into extra reps. And if that means getting them out, getting another line out, getting them back out, that way they're finding their legs too. Because Noah Nelson, who he isn't a focal point of our power play, but he's huge on our kill, had a great assist on that first goal by Zorowski, behind the back, going behind the net, going against the grain, and those are just little veteran plays that he can do. And it helps spark the other guys to get going.
Yeah, excellent. Obviously, like, conversation probably is a little different in first intermission from second intermission, because they're extremely different looking periods. What do you talk to the guys about after that first period versus that second one?
Go ahead, guys. I talked a lot.
Well, I challenged our power play. I challenged them before the game. I said to them, you look at our group, it's guys that we lean on heavily amongst, both special teams and whatnot. And I said, you guys can be the difference of this hockey game. And, when we start the way we did, and I kind of chalked it up to, we weren't really connected. We weren't in sync just yet. Guys that played in different spots throughout training camp and whatnot, and guys were away at NHL camps and giving other guys opportunities, and that's kind of how our team's gonna shape up. It's gonna be that next man up mentality when somebody is not kind of pulling the rope. And I just said to them, like, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the drawing board. Be in a spot where we gotta increase shot volume. We gotta simplify a little bit more. Let's not go one-on-one maybe, and let's try and be in a spot where we can capitalize at some point throughout this game to maybe eventually, luckily we ended up winning the game on it, but just to put us in those situations, I think is critical. And it's just, those are the top guys that are playing on special teams, and now it's like you set the tone for, the rest of the hockey game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then in the second, it's more focused on our 5-on-5 play. And if you look at the first and you look at stretches of the second, I thought we really brought it to them 5-on-5. When you mess up the flow of the game, and it's a ton of special, they're in it too. Like they have guys that go over the boards and kill a ton, and then guys that just sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And then both teams kind of figured it out 5-on-5. They got a couple quick goals that were on like glaring breakdowns.
Yeah.
So it wasn't our entire game. It was 2 plays.
Right.
So we just talked about how we got to keep giving it to them 5-on-5. We got out there in the third, and we got clawed back, and then our power play takes over, and late in the game and in overtime, and that's when you want the power play to come through.
I mean, it must have been special for you seeing your guy from North Bay kind of come in here and get that game winner to break I think it was a 20-game losing streak against the Knights. First time in 20 games, he's able to seal that away. Special moment for you, obviously. Like, you've coached this guy before. Is that kind of, I guess just like a confirmation that he's the right guy?
Yeah, we know JT's a gamer, and if it wasn't for Clocker, though, he would have been sitting in the dressing room and beating up the garbage can like he was and breaking maybe a couple sticks. But Clocker, he messaged Andy Brown and said, hey, like, can he come back? And he talked to the ref, and all of a sudden there's JT sitting in the box coming out.
Nice.
So, it takes a village, it takes a whole team.
Yeah.
So when I found that out after the game, I'm like, okay, we got to make sure that we got to write that down right away so that we know, because we thought he was gone for the game.
Yeah.
And for JT to come, he loves those moments. He lives for those moments, and he's a fiery little angry elf. But he, like I said, he plays the game. It doesn't matter if it's game 1, game 68, or game 7 of the finals. He's going to play this, or exhibition. He's going to play the same way, and that's why Digger and I identified him, and Digger remembers him from his U16 year, and that's where the relationship started.
Excellent. We normally have the guys tape mini sticks. He might be the first kid that can bring his game stick to
I wouldn't say that to him.
Okay.
You might be under the table within 3 seconds.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. What gets you excited for this year when you look at this version of the Bears this year? Like, what is it about this team this year that has you excited to take the ice with them?
Well, I think it all starts with Carter George, right? You got the best goalie in junior hockey, and then you fan out from there. And I think our D, we've added Noah Roberts on the back end. He brings a lot of jam and experience. He may not have played a key role in Brantford Hamilton. Moved on to Sudbury, played a little bit more of a role, and we're going to have him playing in a deeper role than he's ever used to. So, with Bedsy and Greenberg and Banks coming in, and Rogers hopefully can take that step that we really need him to, and he shows signs of it. I think that's where we're really excited, is the back end with Georgie, and then the new additions, and we're pretty deep up front. We won't know until everybody gets their teams back and really know where we're at. Like, we beat London, but yes, they were missing a lot of guys too. Sure. So, at the end of the day, we have to understand that it's a process, and we're just pretty excited to see how deep we are. Last year, we were really euchred if the Bowie, DeLille, hooky line didn't score.
Yeah.
That's not to discount other guys that did chip in here and there and at key times to get us into the playoffs by the point that we got in by. But I think that's what the different players in that dressing room, and they're a special group. Like, I know it's early, but they all love each other already. They're really tight already, and even the guys we brought in from all over the globe, like, it's just they act like they've been here for a year or two already.
Yeah.
So that's what you want. That's when your culture's going in the right way, and we're just looking forward to Thursday and Barrie playing with a full lineup. And you know, I'd be the first to say I didn't expect Carter back for a week or so, but
Right.
you know, he's back and ready to go.
Yeah, excellent. To speak to that culture that you guys have built, you could see it even yesterday, Corporal coming back during practice, and guys who, you know, he's maybe only really known for training camp, coming up with huge smiles on their face, giving him a high five, embracing him. Like, you guys have built that culture. Guys are just excited to be here, to play together, to be a team. What does it take to kind of, I guess, spark that kind of culture on a team?
I think it's your approach every day. Like, you got to make coming to the rink fun. And Stump and Brownie might not love it because the guys just want to hang around the rink all day, and that's the best sign. Is they enjoy showing up in the morning and working out. They enjoy going on skills ice. They enjoy going on for practice. And
Right.
like, it's the daily approach of what your day looks like and making it enjoyable, and the guys want to be there to get better. So once you have that, it just bleeds into the guys love spending time together, and rather than going home on an off day or home to their billet or whatever it might be, they want to continue to hang out, and whether play video games together or go for a walk along the water or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I think we see it. It's just something that happens every single day that bleeds in, and that's what the culture ultimately becomes.
And I honestly think, too, we can't discount the area we live in. It's, you know, this time of year coming in, it's been beautiful weather. You got the Great Lake right there. You got all these beautiful golf courses. You got Sauble they can go to. They love going to the spas in Collingwood. And, you know, it's a very unique area we live in. And like Shazzy said, they're not able to go home on, you know, a day after or the night of a game, or the bus pulls in and, oh, I could just go to Burlington, that's 30 minutes away. So that forces them to get even tighter and be together even more. And, you know, I'm sure they're probably going to go to a movie night tonight. And, you know, if not, there might be a card game where there's going to be a dozen kids together playing. And, you know, that's what you want. That's the junior experience.
Excellent. I mean, Regan, I see that from you. You kind of have that joy when you step on the ice. Like, you're just kind of one of those guys, and you'll give it to every single kid out there, and they seem to love it. Like, they seem to really enjoy when you do that. Is that like something that you kind of embraced when you were playing during your career, or is that something you've just kind of found like, hey, this makes me a better coach?
Honestly, I just love being at the rink. I'm a rink rat through and through, and if I could live there, I would. And you know, I think this group that we've had assembled over the last, you know, kind of 12 months from now has been in a spot where it makes our job fun, like showing up to the rink every single day, going to battle with these guys. And I think the best thing is that, you know, as a player only a short time ago, it's one of those things. It's another outlet that, you know, these guys can feel that they can come and talk to me at any point, right? The highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's a way that, you know, I can relate to these guys. And you know, sometimes I think last year in the role that I was in, you know, I could have those conversations with Shazzy or Razor and be like, hey, you know, so-and-so's having a bad day. And so now I think it's just taken fold the whole time. And I love being at the rink. I love being with these guys, and excited for the year.
Awesome. That's great to hear. For those of you guys watching at home, we're about to head into break here. Before we do, a quick trivia question for you. The first person to send their answer in is going to win a pair of tickets to Saturday, October 4th's game at the Bayshore against Saginaw. And what you got to remember is this is a 4 p.m. game. It's a Saturday. It's not a 7 p.m. It's a 4 p.m. game. Make sure you're there. Question is, which 3 teams did Scott Ray play for in his OHL career?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, make sure you get
Pack
those
a
right.
suitcase.
And open up that Hockey DB, get your phones ready. You can text in your answer to the number on screen.
If you could send in some air conditioning too, that'd be fantastic.
Excellent. We'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned here on Rogers TV for more Attack action.
It's hot in here.
It's toasty. It's toasty.
Oh, my brow is sweating.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
We do family dinner every week.
How's that sauce? Okay.
Your planet is marked for death.
We will protect you.
As a family.
Johnny, quit screwing around!
I tell you how to drive the ship, don't tell me how to kill sexy aliens!
Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four.
Are you a passionate content creator ready to expand your audience reach? Do you have unique stories, captivating hobbies, or special interests that deserve a spotlight? Rogers TV is here to amplify your voice within the community. We offer you the platform to broadcast your content to a wider audience. And the best part, it's completely free. Don't miss this opportunity to share your vision and engage with viewers. Find out how Rogers TV can transform your content journey today.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton, host of HealthLink on Rogers TV. HealthLink connects home, community, and healthcare with interesting topics and speakers about your health and your community.
Wrap here on Rogers TV today, joined by Scott Ray, Brandon Shaw, and Regan O'Grady. Gentlemen, thanks again for joining us here today. Curious for you guys, how have you had to, this being your second year, have you guys felt like you've had to change or adapt your coaching style as the team has changed?
No, I don't think so. I think it's, I think that's just a process on its own, maybe. It's an animal of itself, and it grows, and it's the ebbs and flows of the season, but I don't think we have. We're very approachable. We've all played the game, and we've all played in situations that we didn't love, and you remember those things. And with me having two boys that played junior hockey, like you kind of learn the good, the bad. You learn from what you didn't like and what you like, and you don't want to be known for. And like I say to these guys all the time, and the players, like, I like at the end of their careers and when they're adults, I want to be invited to their weddings. I want to see them, grow as men, and that's a big thing for us. Is we want to be an extension of their family, and we've all played for guys that you just didn't want to go to the rink, and it's tough to perform that way. And with us, I think we're more, I wouldn't say a loving group, but we are. Like we are a welcoming group where there's never a thing that they can't talk about. Right. And, because we've all been through something, or we know somebody that have. And it's just one of those things that we want them to come to the rink and perform at their highest level, because that's what they've done their whole lives. Right. So it's just, I always say it, it's a kid's game, and they're just exceptional at it. And you might as well just keep having the same fun as when you started playing as you do now.
Excellent. Do you guys find it difficult taking, kind of building a team, and like just about every single kid that comes on this team was the best or second best player on their team, and now they're having to learn how to accept roles that maybe they haven't played before or weren't expecting to play when they joined the team? How do you help mentor a kid into that position and I guess help them mature in their expectations of themselves?
You want to touch on? You've gone through it.
Yeah, well, I think obviously it's, I think with the guys now, it's, you look at the NHL, like that's the pinnacle of what these guys feel. And, for them, it's a matter of like honing in on one skill that they're really good at. There's guys in the NHL that make $5 million a year making a simple breakout pass or winning a key face-off. And, I think if you can spin it in any way to help the team, at the end of the day, we're we're a group that all wants to help the team. Like we all want to win. We're all in it together. And there's going to be times, myself included, like I was a puck moving defenseman, played a power play and turned into a shutdown role in the OHL. And there's a lot of guys on our team, and you look at Noah Roberts. Scott kind of touched on it earlier. Like, he's never been in 4 years in the OHL. He's never played in overtime. And Friday night at the Bud, his first game in an Attack uniform, he gets a shift in overtime. And, Hall of Fame dad kind of was like, what's going on there? And it's just, we had a good laugh about it on the bus, because I think that, you don't really know the potential of these guys until you put them in situations that, they either going to succeed or we're going to help them through. And Scott touched on it. We're an open group to talk to, and there's always going to be a reason for what we do. So, sometimes they might not like it right away, but I think the more that you get the buy-in from that, the better off they're going to be. And, you look at guys in the OHL that have been 100-plus point guys, they can't even crack the American Hockey League because they don't want to buy into that role. So, if they can start at a younger age and buy in and adapt to it, the more success they're going to have down the road.
Or you got the guys that are 100-plus point guys that become shutdown fourth-line guys. Right. It's how can they adapt and how quick they can adapt. And I think that's sometimes, a little tough on the kid to hear when they get here, because they were given everything at the minor hockey level. And, we see it every day where you get kids, and we were on a phone call yesterday with a coach in the league, or maybe it was today, I can't remember, and he was like, the kid had no systems, and you looked him up, he had like 140 points or something in 60 games, and the kid never played a system in his life. Where you come to our league, and if you're not systematic, you're not going to survive. Sure. But that might be the biggest hindrance on their development if they don't bend, don't break, but don't bend. And they got to bend a little and trust us as a staff. And one of the biggest things we heard coming back was Crawford coming back from LA and reaffirming what we tried to get him into that role, and seeing him as a pro and as a junior hockey player. And LA, Jared Stoll worked with him a ton, and he heard it from them, and then he's like, wow, okay. Where now the buy-in's there. It's his third year. He's going to be a more vocal captain in the room for us, and the buy-in is now reaffirmed by LA, saying, hey, this is where we see you. This is where you need to make improvements to be able to even get to that level. Right. So I think that's massive, and I'm not saying that we know everything. It's just, I know last year we just needed him to get pucks deep and be physical and rag pucks below the dots, and that's what type of player he is. And sometimes when he tries to turn into Connor McDavid, he's not going to be successful. But if he turns into the Connor McDavid that can chip and go around guys and use his speed and hit a guy driving a net or go low to high, that's where he's going to make his money.
How important is a player like that when you're protecting a late lead and you're just looking to get those pucks in? Like, do you find with these kids that you're bringing in, is it just like, do you almost have to reteach them how to just, hey, you don't need to carry the puck past the goal line, just chip it in, we're protecting a lead here?
Usually I call that maturing your game. Like it's learning game sense, so game management, shift management. So like even the guys that come up and they've been out there for a minute and they get the puck and they think they're going to go score. Right. Like our league's really tough. Yeah. You're not going to score a minute into your shift. Usually not. Sure. So you got to manage the game, you got to manage the puck, and that's just maturing. Like the 16-year-old coming in the league's not going to know that because they could score 2 minutes into their shift. They were the best player there. Right. And then 17-year-old might not realize that. You get to know that when you're 18, 19, 20. And like for guys that Scott's coached late in playoffs and Reeves has been to the finals, like you realize that later in your career when you go deep in the playoffs that with under 7 minutes left in a period, you have to make sure there's no turnovers in the neutral zone. Yeah. And you get a wave on the neutral zone forecheck to keep them pinned down deep while we change. Right. But that comes with time and reps and hearing it over and over again until you have the light bulb go off in your own head after you've heard it 1,000 times.
Right. We see it all the time. Everybody wants a dipsy doodle at the blue line, and you know, it's just one of those things that they have to learn, that don't get a foot inside, let's get 5-6 feet inside so it's not as dangerous, right? And he's exactly right. Like, it just comes with maturity.
How do you help a kid learn things like, you know, often, you know, you see guys, they'll like to cut back along the boards, protect the puck with their body in the offensive zone. How do you get that through to them? Like, hey, you know, don't just get in the blue line, get to the hash marks or something like that. Try to make a play. Like, what do you have to do to kind of help these kids learn these things that, you know, maybe they've been told, like you said, hundreds of times? How do you help them just kind of get that light bulb to click?
Well, it's countless video, countless reps in practice. We preach all the time, just, you know, chipping it out, kicking it out and driving the net, and we want to see that in games, right? Yeah. And, you know, it's just countless man hours of showing video of where their white ice, or we call it white or quiet ice, is, and make sure that they could find that where it's not getting defended. But it's constant drills, it's constant hours of video. Right. You know, and kids, like when we grew up, we used to sit with mom and dad and watch. Well, you watch the Leafs play the full game. You know, you'd watch from start to finish. Couldn't wait for the intro. And the game's over and it's past your bedtime, but you're allowed to stay up. Where now it's little clips on TikTok, or it's little clips on YouTube, and it's all the highlights instead of what really led into that play. And I think, like, leading back to the minor hockey, they want everything now instead of getting it through the hard work and through the sweat, through the tears, and through the man hours. And you know, some kids pick it up quicker than others, and those are the ones that you see out of the league as quick as possible.
Great. You talked a little bit about just like preaching that to them over and over. How often does Pastor Scott have to go in there and preach a good kind of hockey philosophy message to these kids? Like, is that kind of like a weekly thing? Do you have a? I want you guys.
Pastor Scott?
You're Pastor Scott.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
How
First
often?
time I've ever been called that.
There you go.
I've been called worse.
How often are you going in there and you know, teaching a lesson? Like, obviously you have those times on ice, you're giving them maybe those short bits, like you said, like TikToks. But how often are you going into that room? Like, do you have to do that often as a coach, or is that more a rarity?
No, it's not. It's nonstop. It's nonstop reaffirming what you're trying to sell, right? Like, if they're willing to buy what you're selling, then it's going to be a lot easier. And we might do about 15 different drills, but they have the same concepts in them. Yeah. So that's how we play. And, you know, sometimes I look at it and I go, oh man, those are almost identical drills. But there's a different setup, and the D are, you know, working on a different pivot, and there's something going on here and there's something going on there. And, you know, we're constantly changing up drills. Between 10 and 11:30, my brain won't shut off, and I'm just sitting there putting things on a whiteboard working out, because that's when I get, I don't know, maybe my endorphins are going. But today we worked on something else that's kind of in our system, where we want to get quick up or transition, playing fast, getting off the wall, and all of a sudden it just hits you, and you just try different things just to keep them entertained. It's wild, because there's coaches in this league, like the Brian Kilrays, Stan Butlers, Dale Hunter. They stick to their same 6-7 drills every day, and then we will do 7 drills different every day. Sure. And then you go, well, they're the most winningest coaches in the league. What am I doing? Should you go to that? Do you go to that, or is it? Now we're in a society where these kids need to be entertained, you know, where I know when I played, I loved flow and 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, 3-on-1s. I loved the creativity of the game. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, the other 3 I talked about, I don't even know if they use a board. I think they just know the drills. I know when I worked with Stan, the kids would call the drills out before they even got to the corner. And, you know, I didn't know if that was a good or a bad thing, but with us, when we're doing drills, it's always usually into the concepts and what our package is all about.
Excellent, excellent. As a video guy, like you seem to have a special eye for this. How do you then kind of look at these drills and help the kids identify their skills as a coach? Like that seems to be a big part of it. Like, hey, this is what you're really good at. Let's lean into this. Let's get you better. How do you kind of use video and watch these drills and then get that kind of just really into their heads?
I think it's just over time. Like you see themes in video over time where, okay, this brings this guy success. This doesn't bring this guy success.
Yeah.
And you just, as a coach, you just constantly feed them the success and maybe where they need to improve, and they'll start to realize those successes too. And it's over time. It's over those games where Crawl will realize I'm really good below the goal line.
Yeah.
So where do I need to build my offense? It's below the goal line. Maybe not off the rush trying to beat a guy one-on-one.
Right.
But for some guys, like, that can take years.
Yeah.
For some guys, that can take games. And kind of like Scott said, the guys that figure out really, really quick what brings them success, they're not in the league very long. But it's just going at it and making it a habit rather than a one-off.
Sure. As coaches, kind of as a team of three, how are you guys judging that success that you talk about? Like, how do you look at a practice and go, that was a good practice? Games are there's the basic, it's either a win or a loss or whatever. But how do you come out of those games and go, that was a successful game, or that was a successful, off ice weight room time, or that was a successful on ice practice? What kind of criteria do you look at to kind of judge a successful day in the OHL?
Well, I think with us, it's efficiency, right? It's how quick you can get through drills. Lately, the last few practices, we haven't had to, overextend drills because it's pretty efficient. Hats off to the kids because they're going hard. Again, I'm a firm believer that you get your skating, your conditioning in the drills.
Yeah.
The old days of getting on the line and doing the ladder or doing the mile, it's tough. It's hard on your groins, your hip flexors, your body. So I think that's really how we grade them in practice. Again, going back to coaches that I've coached with, they used to literally grade each player, and then if it hit a certain criteria, that's where you knew you were in for that game.
Okay.
Now, I think there's a lot of holes in that because when you lose the game, it's easy to grade that kid poorly.
Right.
That kid might have had a great game, but you might have couple bounces like we had in Port Elgin that hit a door and a guy got a breakaway or something like that might have happened, and a carom might have happened, but the kids didn't play poorly. So why are we, I think in games, your success is graded on wins and losses, to be honest.
Sure.
That's all it's going to come down to. And in practice, I think it's efficiency. It's how quick we can move pucks, how quick we can go through drills, how efficient we can be in those drills. Like we did a drill today where the forwards thought, the second part of the drill was going to be the fun part, and actually the carrot was before that drill. It was a 2-on-1 into a 3-on-2 tracker, and if the tracker's doing his job, there's not going to be any offense out of it.
Right.
And they were very efficient on that, and that was awesome to see because that's part of our non-negotiable is where we really want to work on our track game, and we want to be relentless on the back pressure and getting that puck back and then going the other way.
Excellent. For a video session or off ice or even just like joking around with the guys, how do you guys sort of see that time and go, that was good, that was a win for us?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of, it talks a lot about just buy-in from the guys. I think, when they grasp it and understand video sessions, and then you kind of see it translate onto the ice, whether it might be the next day of practice or the game. I think those are the moments as a coach you're like, wow, like this is really clicking, and the guys are starting to see it. And just every day being at the rink, even just, the 5 minutes that you get to know somebody or, you're talking with them, like, there might be something going on where now all of a sudden they open up, and, there's those moments as coaches too that you're like, okay, like, maybe so-and-so needs help or whatever it is. And it's always geared towards the betterment of the team. And I think the more that, we can continue to have a pulse on what's going on and kind of see what, how days translate and, what we're working on practice, translates into a game or, video. I know some days are harder on certain guys than others, maybe just the way that they've played or whatever, right? But I think, then they come back with another good game and I see the difference. I think it's important, right? And, as a player, you gain confidence from just those moments, right? So the more we can have those, the better off we're going to be.
Awesome. Curious for you guys. I mean, earlier you had mentioned that it takes a village to do this, and you saw obviously Clocker stepping up in a game time situation and helping the team out in that way. You've got a lot of people behind the scenes that don't necessarily get to the bench every day or every game that just play a huge role. You got Fogues that is helping with the goalies. You got a skating coach coming up. You got Manor behind the scenes sending video down to you guys.
He's doing that?
I've seen it at least once or twice here.
No, so. I think we have one of the biggest support staffs in the league, and they are, the seventh man, so to speak, right? Like they're phenomenal, and coming from a different program to this program, and then seeing how many people really care to help out it's unbelievable. And again, I think that has a lot to do with the area and the passion that this is a hockey town.
Right.
And, with that being said, I love when those people are with us. The Clocker can't be with us enough. He does an amazing job. He relates to the kids really well. And even his I would say his niece, Dassy. Yeah. Dassy's doing an internship with us right now. She's also a high-level athlete.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. It's a real family atmosphere. It's a family atmosphere until Ryan Manley starts eating, and then we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble.
Yeah,
he might have a hot dog in his back pocket. I don't know.
Made sure to save him some plain Timbits today, so that's good.
Yeah, what is with these plain Timbits? Downey loves them.
I don't know.
I give them to my dog.
They're dog food, they're dog treats.
I get 2 every time, and she's almost in to the cockpit.
Oh, for sure.
She can't wait for them.
Oh, yeah, no, they're awful. They're just terrible.
Yeah. Sorry, Timmy's.
Not sponsored or anything like that. We've got a winner as well for the tickets. Congratulations to Crystal Vallis. You've won yourself a pair of tickets to Saturday, October 4th's game against Saginaw at 4 p.m. at the Bayshore. Correct answer here. What 3 teams did Scott Ray play for? Owen Sound Platers, not Attack, North Bay, and Plymouth. So congratulations there to Crystal Vallis.
Who's the coach of the Plymouth Whalers?
Oh, gosh. Was it Stan Butler?
No, Stan never coached there. He was always with Brampton and North Bay.
I just thought I'd throw that one out there. I don't know.
You can let me know.
Okay, that's my trivia question. I'll get you an answer later here.
Just got fired by the Dallas Stars.
Oh shoot. Now I can't remember his name. I know what he looks like. I'm losing it. Pete DeBoer. Thank you. That's I got it now. Former Vegas guy too, right?
Yeah, he's been with a few teams.
Okay.
Good coach though.
What was that like playing for him?
I had a cup of coffee there, to be honest. I think I played 9 games.
Okay.
I can't remember. 9 games I got there. It was a rude awakening. I had Mike Kelly in North Bay, who also was in Vegas and then New York, and now he's in the KHL. And going from Mike, who was stern and tough to play for, and then you go to Pete, where it was a different world. But even back then, like the Western Conference was a lot tougher than the East, and I really think that's how they had to train.
Sure. Do you guys find, is there a different style of play in the West and the East even now?
Oh, yes.
It's not even close.
It's not even
really,
close. And I have a good buddy that coaches in the Sioux, John Dean, and he always told me, because he left North Bay and went to the Sioux, and I got the job in North Bay and took over his position, and he always said, you guys have it so easy in the East. And I just kind of look at him with disrespect. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Come on. And then we get here, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
It's game 7 every night.
Really?
And you got to love it. There's no, you know, I don't want to disrespect anybody around the league, but there's always that Wednesday no-hitter that you're just trying to get through. And
sure.
If you did that going into Guelph, or you did that going into Kitchener, or you do that going into London, it's not happening.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
A guy sneaking up on us.
That's
Maple Leaf fan.
That's excellent.
Not Austin Matthews either.
Don't have a whole lot of time left here, but when you guys are going into camp, and how much of camp are you guys like just trying to get these guys to I guess play up to the level that you're trying to call them to, versus like what's your involvement in saying like, yeah, you know what, I see this guy having a place on this team, versus, you know, this guy may need to go and develop a little bit more, or do you leave all of that to scouting staff and managing staff?
I'll let you guys talk.
Yeah, it's a discussion for sure. At the end of the day, it's Dale's call.
Yeah.
Like, he makes the big bucks for a reason, and
Right.
it's his call at the end of the day. But Dale, since the day we've gotten here, has taken our word and really valued it and
excellent
thought about it. So it's a group decision, or it's a group kind of approach to it. But at the end of the day, it's his call.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think, you know, all three of us come from different backgrounds and different spots where we all care, and that's the biggest thing. And we all want to see this do well, and we want to, you know, put guys on to the next level. And I think, you know, when Dale realized that and, you know, allows us to have those conversations, it's like, you know, hey, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? And it's obviously a feel-good thing, I think, for all three of us to really have our voices heard, because I know, you know, I haven't been coaching in this league very long, but, you know, even just looking at dynamics when I played with our coaching staff, and now kind of sitting here and being on this side of things, you know, you look at that and go, well, it was just a one-man show. And I think now it's like, you know, we're appreciative of the support that, you know, obviously Dale shows us, and you know, he's giving all of us, you know, an opportunity to grow as well too. So you know, we want, you know, a winning team. We want to bring a championship back to Owen Sound, and we work a lot of, you know, countless hours behind the scenes to make things happen. So
absolutely. And you know, I don't think enough people get to see the kinds of things that you guys do. I mean, Regan, I've seen you before just sitting with guys one-on-one going through video, and, you know, even the elite guys, you're going through that. Obviously, Brandon, you've been slaving over the computer for hours. You do all these things people don't know about as a coach, like you're booking buses, you're booking hotels, and also having to be a coach on top of that, and
booking meals, selling corporate sales.
Exactly.
The list is like the elf.
Yeah. Well, and then Scott,
Or
for
the
yourself,
Grinch.
like, you know, I've watched how even just like one conversation with you will change the way a kid does the next drill. Like he hears what you're saying and seems to take it. And I don't know if that's just the way that you have communicated it to him, or the culture that you guys have developed. They want to play for you guys, but it seems like you guys have gone out there and you've put yourselves on the line. You've put yourselves out there, and you've created a culture of guys that want to not just play for you guys, but play for the city, play for the crest on the chest.
Well, I think we've all moved from our homes to be here.
Right.
And, you know, it doesn't work unless you embrace being in the community. And, you know, coming from North Bay, it's on an island also, and all the staff moved from Toronto, Muskoka, wherever the case may be. And we've all have transplanted here. And, you know, we want to be here for a while, and it takes a while to get, you know, your claws into things and to do things the way you want. But I think it's the passion of us and our significant others that want to be here too.
Right.
You know, it goes without saying, like our wives and girlfriends, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. You know, it's a sacrifice for everybody, and I think that's massive.
Excellent. Well, and I think that, you know, I know for sure myself, as well as those that are watching, we appreciate that sacrifice. And obviously lots of people, they have their opinions from the stands, but they don't really know a lot of the time the sacrifices you guys have made to be here. So for those that don't know, thank you, and hopefully you hear that from them lots this season. Real quick before we wrap up, do you guys have like what's just kind of your favorite thing about being in Owen Sound, or one of the highlights that you found after being here for a year that you just love about? Maybe it's the team, the city, whatever?
Well, I'll start. I think coming here at 16 and not knowing, I'm from Ottawa, so coming to Owen Sound was like going to the moon. Like you were like, where am I? And I didn't appreciate it then.